Good morning. We're speaking with William Young, who wrote the incredible story that's now 2 million in print called The Shack. A remarkable beginning. It was a very humble beginning. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. It was, and by the way, I go by Paul, which is my middle name.
Good. Okay.
And the story really was something that I wrote at the request of my wife and the encouragement of Kim. And I've always written as gifts. I've written short stories and poems and songs, but only as gifts. I've never published anything in my life, never tried to, wasn't on the radar, don't have an identity as an author. So at best, I'm an accidental one. And the whole goal in 2005 was to get this story written for my children and get it to a local printer by Christmas. And that was it. That was the vision. So Kim had wanted me to put in one place my perspectives about who God is and who is this God really and who are we really to this God and what is relationship about and all of those ideas. And I couched it in my own story, as it were, but it's fiction in the sense that a parable is fiction. A parable uses a lot of things that are true and real, actually events in our lives or whatever, and embeds truth inside of those things. So that's what my attempt was. But it wasn't an attempt to do a systematic theology. It wasn't an attempt to do anything other than to write a story for my kids.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Now, I could tell it was a very authentic story, that it came from your soul. So there has to be a lot of the story in your own life. Is that true?
That is very true. Probably the best way to put it, we do have the losses in our lives. We had a 6-month period where my 18-year-old brother Stephen was killed, where Kim's mom at age 59 died suddenly, and my 5-year-old niece Jennifer was killed the day after her 5th birthday, and that was all in 6 months. And so that piece of it we have. But even as a metaphor, the story goes a lot deeper into my own history. And people say, well, who are you in the story? And I will tell them, I'm Mackenzie, because he's the main character, but I'm also Missy. And the way that makes sense is that I grew up in such a way, we all do, and the damage in our lives becomes the house of the soul, and
well said.
That's where we hide our secrets and our addictions and our hurts and the abuse that's done to us, and then the choices we make that hurts other people, and we hide all those things in the shack. And for me, a gal writes, she's an author, or for real one, out of Nashville, and she says,
"Trust me, you are too." At 2 million in print, you're an author.
Oh, okay. Ooh, sweet.
Who knew?
Glad to know. Yeah. And so she writes to me and she says, Paul, I don't know any of your backstory, but my sense is that Missy represents something that was murdered in you as a child, probably your innocence. And Mackenzie represents the process as an adult of coming to healing. And she's right. She's absolutely right. And it has to do with, in my situation with abandonment issues and my dad's anger and sexual abuse that happened on the mission field. I'm a missionary kid and a preacher's kid and went to Bible school and seminary and all that stuff. And so I've been inside the religious framework for all my life. But my shack's built out of all that kind of stuff that happened even, when I was 4 or 5 years old.
So before the shack, what was your day job?
I actually had a few of them. I was, up until February of this year, actually, I was still working at Mark Technologies, which is a little manufacturer's rep office in Clackamas, Oregon. And basically I was there about half the time by myself, doing inventory control and cleaning the toilets. And
well, that's spectacular work.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? Everything is holy. And that's
I hear you.
That's the deal, is that the presence of God is no respecter of job, and so the person who is focused on the child, the mother, and who's focused on her baby, and the person who's digging the ditches and, cleaning out the sewer lines, and it's the presence of God that makes everything holy. And so, I love doing this, but if this all went away tomorrow and I was back shipping out soldering tips, and I'd be fine because what matters is this relationship that we have with God, with Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and so it's a different time in my life, no doubt, and if I wanted to tell you my preference, I'd rather be doing this kind of stuff than cleaning toilets. But hey,
wouldn't we all?
Yeah, but I'd rather be in His presence than anything.
Exactly. Well said. Now, I have to ask you, was there an accident in real life? Did you have an accident or?
And which accident might you be referring to?
I'm referring to an automobile accident.
I've had a few. I've had a few of those.
Serious
mostly
accidents.
Yeah, not like that. No,
okay.
That was. See, you have to always remember this is a work of fiction, and that includes the foreword and the afterword. Some people are a little perturbed because they think that the foreword and the afterword are nonfiction, even though the book says fiction on it and the endorsements are for fiction.
I know, it was wonderfully done. It was wonderfully done.
Thank you, but it has made some people pretty irate, and partly because I think that we embarrass easily. And they shouldn't feel bad. I've had 2 forensic detectives contact me looking for the case file. I'm serious. That is the absolute truth. And so
Wow.
I know.
See? Who knew?
The details of the story are all real. I mean, you can go down those roads. You can go to Wallowa. It's a great campsite. It's a great part of the state of Oregon. All of that stuff's real.
Where is it in Oregon, that campsite?
It's in Oregon. I have to correct you.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Oregon is,
yeah,
Oregon.
I was told that, too. When I visited there, that I was speaking incorrectly.
Yeah, it's in the eastern part of the state.
Okay.
And northeastern, and it is, it's just a beautiful area. And a lot of, I've gone camping there. That's what I was drawing from. At that campgrounds, and all of those things. See, my kids. I wrote it for my kids, so they're all over this.
They could
relate
story. To it, yeah.
Oh, and not only relate to it, they were there. We were there when the chipmunks and the squirrels stole all our peanut butter cookies, and those are real things.
And they dumped over in the canoe, and.
Yeah, well, we didn't do that. That part was that was fictionalized because we've been on the lake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was just a literary device, but
yeah.